Well, I think if the question is, what is the next step in getting to the truth of the matter on these issues, I think there's hardly anybody in this room who doesn't know what my answer is. The next step, assuming another nation, major nation, doesn't take independent action, is to maneuver the U.S. government, which in this case really means the executive branch, the President and the Pentagon, into a position where they have to acknowledge and announce the extraterrestrial presence, which is disclosure, the disclosure event. That's all it is. It's not, dumping 4,000 boxes of files or revealing how many condos and Corvettes the Nazis got when they came under paperclip. It just means that there's an ET presence. Now, give us a few moments or a few days to think about what we want to say next. That's all it is. And it's a very simple thing. And because it's a simple thing, with the right moves on the chessboard, you can actually make it happen. And I happen to believe that it's ready to happen, and it can happen this year. And I talk about that a lot. Meaning that the necessary moves to get the President of the United States to cut a deal with the Pentagon so that both sides are relatively happy with how it's going to be done will come in front of the American people and announce ET presence. Now guess what? After that, all hell breaks loose, and a lot of stuff starts getting resolved very quickly. Now, before I comment further, I do want to make two quick mentions here. First of all, I have to say that based upon certainly what we've heard today and what I'm pretty sure we're going to hear tomorrow, I happen to think this is the most sophisticated conference presentation on this subject matter I have ever attended. And that includes my conferences. This is high level stuff. This is the kind of conference where you get to use all that education you went and got, because you really need it to cover this material. The second thing I want to say is that it's difficult to keep up with everything that's going on, and the people and the research in this field, it's vast. So I'm not up on everything. So I confess today that I have come late to the Joseph Farrell fan club, but boy am I on board, because this work is extraordinary work. And let me tell you why. The problem with activism, which is essentially trying to get the government to change its policy, and most of you, like me, have lived through some of the most significant activist movements in the 20th century, both in the United States and abroad. So you know what it's like. Is that you can't go to the media, you can't go to the people, you can't go to the politicians with a 67-year historical model of an event that will have 50,000 books written about it and say, have you got 4 days? I want to give you the picture here. You have to create some basic fundamentals, get people involved, and then get a result. What are the fundamentals? There's an extraterrestrial presence. The United States government has withheld that acknowledgement. The United States government has ET technology, which has been absorbed into a massive secret world and research with huge amounts of money. And that secret world now contains a whole bunch of other stuff that you don't know about, from biowarfare work to everything else. The whole thing's floating away and getting away from us. And if we don't deal with it pretty soon and bring everything down, that's pretty much it. And we want the United States president to announce ET presence. That's pretty much it. But what happens there is that a lot of people think, okay, that's it. Oh no, that's not it. Let's be clear. The truth embargo, which I casually refer to, was a massive program in which billions upon billions of dollars were spent, not only to keep the research secret, to keep the finances secret, and to keep the media under control, and the philanthropists out of the picture, and the universities pretty much out of the picture. A major 67-year effort that is unparalleled in history. And then the actual history of the phenomena and the ET presence, and of course all the scientific research, is vast. So we're sitting on this huge historical reality, which is not available in schools to learn about, and isn't going to be until the disclosure event takes place. So it's really kind of an odd situation. It's like there's this giant hole in the last 67 years of reality, and we're supposed to sort of not know about that, and then just sort of marvel at the things that are happening. We don't know why. Why did we suddenly end the moon program? Why is the shuttle program suddenly not there? And 100 other things. Oh, well, it's just the way it is. Oh, no, it's part of a large picture. Most of the picture just isn't available at your movie theater right now. And the last thing I'd like to say before I pass the mic is this. There was one critical moment in Joseph's presentation. Well, there were many critical moments, but there was one particularly that I noted. Came toward the end. And essentially the particular meme that he presented was that one of the very possible reasons why the secrecy has been so profoundly maintained is that the power of the energy systems and technology that's being worked on, as well as the anti-gravitic technology, if it gets in the wrong hands, could be a serious problem. I'd like to mention something to you may have forgotten about. Back in 1991, 92, actually slightly before 91, there were articles which I read, because I was in Washington at the time, that the military was kind of had a problem in that they had been developing a huge range of very sophisticated weapons and were very frustrated that there wasn't a war that they could use them in. There just hadn't been one for a while. And interestingly enough, about the same time I was reading this article, April Glaspie, whatever his name is, one of the ambassadors, one of the diplomats working with Bush, Glaspie, turns up in Saddam Hussein's office and gives him a little wink nod about, you want to go in Kuwait? It's like, we don't care. And the next thing, he goes into Kuwait, and the next thing you know, we're at war. But nothing like I'd ever seen before. We were at war, and so we're getting the feedback from the war, and of course we're killing lots of people, but that was really wasn't the key thing. What was, we were getting day after day after day of some generals, usually Schwarzkopf or some colonels, saying, here's today's footage. Here is this gun, the nose camera footage from a guided missile launched by a stealth plane 400 miles away. Here it comes in. Here's the bridge it's going to blow up. Oh, there's a bicycle going across. Boom, blows up the bridge, or the house, or the car. And they're just having a hell of a time showing off the incredibly sophisticated weapons, stealth, camera technology, guided, all this stuff. In other words, they had a chance to really use those weapons, and it was on some Iraqis who had stepped over the line, and you gotta break a few eggs. And it finally got so bad that they stopped it because they were getting a lot of negative feedback from Americans. Are going, you're just showing off just a touch too much here, right? I mean, these are dead people at the end of these weapons. So the point I want to make is this. Joseph Farrell made a key point that maybe the secrecy is because these weapons, if they get in the wrong hands, could be dangerous. I would like to make the suggestion that they are already in the wrong hands.